Am I supposed to do an intro? I forget. Oh. I didn't think this far ahead. Welcome to the Open Chapter Society.
Mm-hmm.
With me, I have my brother Benny, though, as always, I'm going to pretend we've never met before and ask questions to get the full story as though I wasn't there.
Or what's remembered of the full story, huh?
You ready?
Yeah.
Great. How have you been?
I've been doing great. Do you want like a crazy in-depth answer? What are you looking for?
Well, I wasn't looking for something too crazy there, though I was
Mm.
about to ask where you grew up and how it was.
Okay.
And I was looking for a bit more in depth.
I'll start from the very beginning. The parts I don't even know. I was born in a trailer in Harriman in the backyard over there. And I believe from there we moved a couple different spots. That one highlighted in my brain because it was like, that's crazy. I don't remember a bunch of the other areas. Honest to goodness, like, I don't know if you guys run it differently. I have a couple memories of when I was younger, and then it's like, I feel like I gained sentience when I was like 13 or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, I have a couple kind of fun memories. Most of my memories, I don't have any from the Harriman house we lived at when you guys were all born, but the Riverton house we moved to, I remember a lot over there. And I remember that we had the basement that Mom still painted and made it a whole like fantasy folklore area, if you remember.
I vaguely remember.
She was painting like dragons and castles on the wall, and there was the cubby underneath the stairs and all that. And then Dad had the storage room for a bit that we would make beer and wine in. I remember helping him step on wine grapes. That was kind of fun. I went to school at Rosamond for a couple years, and it was kind of interesting. I call myself a middle child. I don't know if that's the technical term because I'm the third out of 10 or 11, but feels like a middle child when you have two older siblings that are like kind of paving the path, you know. But I think I kind of went a different way than they did after I hit the preteen era. So we all were like, yeah, we're just nice, normal kids. And then preteen hit, and it was like, this sucks for everyone who's not me. Because I was not very nice. And it was fun for me, but I'm sure, we gave Mom a heck of a scare. Let's see. Elementary school was awesome for me, but I don't feel like I don't remember a whole lot of it, but it was just fun. Didn't do anything. Never took anything serious. Middle school was the beginning of a bad time where I would like sneak out the window and go smoke pot. And then that actually went on until high school. So that was a whole thing. And in and out, it's not like they were doing that the whole time, but it was like that was the thing I remember most about my middle school years is like I am ditching school and I want to go do drugs. Just weed, but
would you say you're happy to have had it, or would you have rathered a regular childhood?
I am more happy to have had it. If those things didn't happen, I don't think I would be in the same spot or even who I am right now. And I wouldn't change anything about my life right now.
Okay. Earlier you mentioned differing from your two older siblings. In what ways did you differ, and what propelled you to that?
It's tricky to not be like, well, you're there. Yeah.
Yeah, I
know. Well, our older two siblings are a little bit more like, do what your parents say, don't question what your parents say, don't worry about it, and you're happy to do whatever, and you're always helpful. I didn't get that gene in my genetic code. Don't want to. Why? And so when you're the first kid that's kind of paving the way of like, why do I have to do that? Why do I have to do jobs? I didn't make those dishes dirty, and you start bringing up these counter arguments that it's like, dude, you're a little kid. Go clean, everyone has to do a job. But it was the first time, I think, for Mom and Dad where it was like, this kid does not run it like the other kids. He's kind of rude, which is not normal. He doesn't just do what you ask. Everything's a huge, I don't want to, And so that was interesting from that end. I would also say that it's kind of, I think I was the first kid in our family that was a no man, if that's how you call that. You know how you have like a yes man and a no man. And a yes person is always like, I'm going to do what I can to say yes. I was going out of my way to say no.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know why. I don't do that anymore, I don't think, but it just was what I was about,
So you think you were a bad kid?
Mm-hmm. For the most part. And I tried to not be home as much as possible. Which we lived close enough to my friends that I could walk, and so I would do that almost every day.
Okay.
Just to not have... Looking back, I think it was to be like in charge of myself. I think it was like a weird power thing.
Okay.
I don't want to be babysat. I don't want someone to be in charge of me. I'm going down here,
Mm-hmm. How was it moving into the big house then?
That was kind of a crazy adjustment period, because that's when I started being more of a no person. Because when we lived in Riverton, I had the friends I was supposed to have, and I had the things that I was, I just did what I was supposed to do, and I just followed in my brother's footsteps, and you had the same teachers that your siblings had, and they were excited for you to be just like your siblings, and then we got the kind of this new experience of like, I'm starting brand new at a school over here. And I was only in second grade by then, so it was only 3 years of following someone's footsteps, but it felt like forever to a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
But starting at a new school, it's kind of nerve-wracking, and also it's a little bit freeing, because it's like, I don't know anyone. No one knows me. I get to pick what squad I hang out with. I get to choose if I want to be into sports or if I want to hang out with this kid or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
So I really enjoyed it, and then I ended up making friends with our cousins who lived a little bit down the road. And weirdly enough, I didn't really know them at all, but ended up starting to hang out with them. And those were the guys that I would go hang out with in my preteen years almost every day.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of stuff did you guys do together?
Well, a whole lot. When you're younger, when we were just in like elementary school to like probably to early middle school, we didn't do anything that was like particularly like illegal per se. A lot of it was just like, we're just gonna go play sports and go on walks, and we did in 6th grade we got into vaping pretty big, and that was an interesting experience, but also kind of weird. A lot of like just sleeping out under the stars, like pretty how you would want your summers to feel. I think how I wanted them to feel. It felt like it was like a perfect little combination. And then as you got older, that's when it was like, what we had was one of my friends' older brothers were like potheads, and so we had all talked to each other, and we were like, we're never gonna do that. We're not gonna smoke pot. We see how they get. We're not gonna do any of that. And then and we didn't for a long time, and we would instead, it's like, well, let's go doorbell ditching at night, like let's find other hobbies to do. And so that lasted a good long time until we're all in like 8th and 9th grade. Maybe not 8th, maybe 7th, maybe late 7th grade. And we're sitting there, and it's like, should we try smoking pot? They just asked us if we want to, And it's fun for them. I don't know why, but it was fun for them to see us get high too. And we did. And then we did for a long time. So I don't recommend it to anyone. But
why not?
Because if you're not careful, it seems like it's a very easy thing to do, and it's so convenient, and it's so fun. Like, you kind of trick yourself into these modes of like, when I smoke pot, food tastes better. When I smoke pot, video games are more fun. When I smoke pot, things are more funny. And even a little bit of, like, a part of me still thinks sometimes, yeah. I'm smart enough to know it's not. It's literally the same food. It's the same
Mhm.
game. But your brain slows down. It feels like almost to a point where it's like, I am enjoying this more. And so I just think it's not good for anyone's developmental phase. I think everyone should wait until it's like you're pretty much as smart as you're going to get, per se, or not smart, but like as developed as you're going to get. Maybe do it then. Because all I think it did was stop my, what's the right word? Almost like your drive as a little kid. When I was younger, I thought I was going to do more and be more. And then I smoked pot and decided, this is awesome. I could do this, And so I don't recommend it really to anyone.
Did you ever get back into that, wanting to do more and be more?
Well, yes. Yes, and I guess I haven't done a whole lot to do that quite yet. So what I do is I sell cabinets at a cabinet company called Popular Design. And so the goal is to follow and beat the record of the person who currently holds it, right? So you want to fast track the way that they did it. You want to copy the way they did it and then do it faster than they did to make it bigger. My lifelong goal, that I even had this goal before I smoked pot, is that I wanted to be someone who, it's very vague, I want to be someone who is asked to be on a TED Talk. And I didn't even know what for. I still don't.
Okay.
I just want to have done something where someone was like, please come teach us. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I still don't know. But I think I'm in the right track again.
Can you tell me what it means to you to be someone on a TED Talk?
Yeah, someone who is worth looking up to and like aspired to be, Because, and it's not just like a TED Talk. It's like, even take like, I even got excited in my stomach when I get asked to come on a podcast. That's a lot of fun. It's like me. Yeah. And so I think on such a broad or such a bigger scale of something like TED Talk's pretty big, or you could even say like, say I got big enough and I did something cool enough, or I do something cool enough that it's like Joe Rogan hit me up and was like, come talk about it with me. That's cool. I don't know what it is, and I'll never get there until I find out what it is, but I want to have done something cool enough that people want to come and talk to you about it.
You mentioned earlier being a salesman at a cabinet company. How did you get there?
I was working in the shop for a couple of years and then kind of feeling the stagnation that you sometimes get. I don't know if you guys felt that working there sometimes, but it's like if you don't change up your routine there enough to where it's like I'm either not doing more or I'm not feeling like I'm growing enough for a bit, or not just for a bit, for like a long time. You feel like you're doing these things and you're getting these promises of like, here's how we could do it. What could we do? I was chasing the role of production manager for a while there, and looking back, I don't ever think it was really meant to be, but in the moment, I thought for sure, I can do this. I'm going to do this. And then I started feeling a little stagnant, like it wasn't going anywhere, and it just wasn't changing fast enough for me, but I also expected something to happen very soon. And so when it didn't, I got a little upset. And then I was just feeling like a normal worker, and then randomly the boss came and asked me if I wanted to try out doing sales. And I think it was because I nagged his production manager so much about doing different things that they're like, maybe we could have this guy try doing something where you nag people all day. Or not just necessarily nag, but like be persistent about it. And so I got that job. And at that time I guess what was crazy was that morning is when I quit smoking pot.
Really?
Yeah, I woke up at 5 a.m. I decided I wasn't going to smoke pot. I talked to my wife. We weren't going to smoke pot anymore. We decided, let's be a little bit more today. Let's have a baby. So we decided, like, let's get pregnant and let's not do drugs anymore. And then that day, I got asked, do you want to try something new? And so I took the opportunity. And it's been awesome. It's the best job I've ever had, and it's also the worst job I've ever had. So it's a lot more responsibility than I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Which is good and bad. It's great to learn from.
How can it be the best and the worst?
Well, the highs are high and the lows are low. You can have really good interactions with people and relationships with people, and then awesome jobs go through, like everything went pretty much perfect. Maybe there's a service here or there, but it's like, I feel like if I didn't mess anything up, that's awesome. It's like, oh man, maybe we need a new panel. Maybe it got cut wrong or something like that. It's like, sweet, that means I did a great job. Everything went great. Because essentially, I feel like my job is basically, it's like build a box of Legos. Send them all the parts, and then send them a list of all the parts, and then show them how you want them to build it, And so if you do that all the way 100% right with hundreds of little pieces, it's like, sweet, I did pretty good right there. And that's not all my job. That's just a part of it, right? That's just design and then completion. There's also you got to meet the customers. You got to get the customers to want to buy through you, because there's 100 other people that are probably trying to do the same thing, And so it's kind of a fickle game, because sometimes I'd have days sometimes where I would you drop this huge job for someone. Like this job is like in the probably close to like the 30 to 40,000s. And it takes a lot of hours to draw that up. And then someone takes it to another company and says, what can you give me? Because I didn't like that number. And it's like, well, bummer. So it's good and bad. That's one of the bad parts, is when it's like, well, you put a lot of time in and it didn't get anywhere. The other bad side is when you have a customer who's really not happy with you. That's a low. That's not that fun.
Are they usually not happy with you because you messed up, or are they just grumpy people?
It depends on the customer. It's understandable. If we messed up, it's understandable for them to be not happy. Doesn't make it less fun to handle, or doesn't make it more fun to handle, or less, It just is, you just have to. You just have to make that phone call, and it sucks. And you just have to tell them, like, I don't know, it's kind of tricky, right? So what happens is, I get this job rolling, I get the proper number, I get the drawing, I get them to sign off on everything, they like it. Now I say, okay, here's our time frame, and they go, okay, could you do it faster? I talk to the scheduler says we could do it by here. And on paper, that's great. And then it's like, okay, cool, we'll do it by then. And then if the scheduler comes, hits you up, and is like, actually, that particular thing that you ordered won't be delivered until this date a couple weeks later. Doesn't seem like it's such a big deal. But this person loses money every day that it gets pushed back. And so he's getting mad at me because I just lied to him, right? So I have to call and be like, actually, we just looked into it, and that won't be there that time because of this ordered item thing. Okay, well, now he's mad, and he's yelling at me over the phone like, WTF, you just barely promised me all this stuff. How do we get this? This sucks for me. I'm losing money. I feel that. I get that. I can't do anything about it. So that's a low part of the job.
That makes sense. I'm going to change the subject a little bit. What was it like with your wife? How did you get to being married?
That was kind of an interesting scenario too. So I had hung out with her because my best friend, she's actually my best friend's sister. And what they come from is a divorced family. And she was from the divorced mom, and then he's from the next mom, right? And so I didn't really know her until I was like 15. I met her. She came over to stay at her dad's, and then I was over there hanging out with him. And I was like, this chick is hecka pretty, and she's so funny. What do you mean you're his sister? WT, where'd you come from? What? And then after that summer, she left and went back, and she kind of disappeared forever. And I had gotten like her Snapchat at the time and had texted her a little bit. And then I had kind of touched base with her now and then, like every 6 months or whatever. I would hit her up randomly, and she'd be like, what are you up to? And she's like, well, I have a boyfriend. So I was like, leave him. Not my best moment, but I was like, I want you more than him. I don't care. That didn't happen, by the way, but she didn't leave him. And then after a couple years, I think 5 years almost went by, and we had kind of fallen all the way out of touch. Like, we're not even talking, whatever. I still hang out with her brother, who's my best friend. We hung out every day, but I never talked to him about it either. And then we went to a wedding, and she happened to go to high school with the couple getting married, and the couple getting married was my cousin. And so we kind of bumped into each other again there, and I was a little bit awkward. Like, I was like, last time I talked to you, I told you to ditch your boyfriend, and you said no. And I'm not even gonna like say hi to you, not really, because I'm awkward and weird, you know. And then she called me out and was like, I can't believe you're not gonna say hi to me. I was like, really? You don't believe I'm not gonna do that after all that, you know? And we ended up just picking up almost right where we left off. You're just gabbing, you're having fun, everything's awesome. And then the night came to like a finale, to a closing, and she left. And then she texted me like, I left my jacket, would you mind grabbing it? And so I grabbed it, and then I told her that she could come and get it the next day. And then we started hanging out.
So she did leave her boyfriend?
I suppose, yeah. That's a whole thing, though. That's a whole different... You'd have to have her on here to ask her about that. That's not my story to tell. That's way different.
Okay. So far that you've told us,
Mm-hmm.
what are some lessons you think we should take away from the story?
I think I'm going to break it down kind of in a time frame wise. The first time frame is make sure you know what you're doing before you do it. I didn't do that when I was younger and knew what I was getting into, like getting into pot and stuff. And make sure you know what you're getting into before you do it. That's actually a really cool lesson that our dad told me. Oh, I forgot to tell you. There was a whole era where I almost went to Dixie State when I was 18. I was going to move down there. I had a job set up. I had housing set up. I was going to move down there and just be the worst person probably ever and just go to parties and try to do bad stuff. And so I was set up to do that. My high school buddies at the time were going to go do that. I was going to get to bunk with them. They had an extra room. I got a job lined up. I was going to go install cabinets down there for a different cabinet company, all this stuff. And then, Dad came to talk to me, and he was like, me and Dad didn't really have a good relationship, if any at all, is how I felt, right? But he was like, I'm just worried, and I want you to know that you can do what you want. I just want you to be aware, and I want you to put yourself into a situation you can handle. And don't put yourself into a situation you can't handle. And so I thought about it, and then I thought about it for a couple weeks, and I was like, is that a situation that I could come out of? And I didn't think it was. And so I ended up not going. And so I think that's the lesson for the middle. Don't put yourself in a situation you cannot handle. It sucks. And I'm sure everyone's kind of felt that a little bit. Like, it's even like the same as when you tell a lie, and then you get called out on a lie when you're younger, or even when you're older, whatever. And you're like, ooh, I really wish I didn't say that thing. You know what I mean? I even had a situation go like that the other day, and not even lie. But I said some shit because someone did some shit. I saw it, and I told my wife, and then she told someone, and then I had someone knocking at the door coming to ask me, like, did this happen? I was like, no way. I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to be a part of your marriage. Go away. I'm like, no. I don't want to be a ruiner or nothing. Like, no, you know. I even got myself in a pickle because my mother-in-law was telling me stories about her dad. None of them were, like, great. It was, like, random weird stuff where it was, like, that's not very nice. You know what I mean? And it's, like, it's old school, so I know I get times we're different. But she hadn't ended up telling me anything good about him. She just had only, like, made comments like, oh, yeah, well, my dad used to do this. And it's like, that's a little bit messed up, dude. You know, that's not normal. And I'll tell you after the podcast because I don't want to get called out again. But then she called me out, and she was like, I heard that you were saying this, and I fought for you saying I wouldn't, like, Ben wouldn't say that. Ben wouldn't do that. And I was like, I certainly did. But that's all you told me. Like, I don't know. Like, I just know that he sucks. That's all, you know? And then we ended up bonding, and I told her, like, you have to tell me something good about him. I'm happy to share the good. You know what I mean? But I can't just share. Well, if you want, like, I want to talk about him because it's interesting. I only know bad shit. Sorry, bad stuff. And so you have to tell me some good stuff. Come to find out, really cool stuff. Worked on airplanes, cool things, different things. Very great to people, very good to this. It just was that you happened to highlight those things that I thought not so good. But, sorry. Anyway, back to it. The third thing that I would highlight about my life story is to not give up. That's probably the most crucial one for me.
Okay. What taught you that?
Well, there's a whole lot about my life where you can't really afford to stop. And so, and I mean, as far as things like my son is deaf and he's got the cochlear surgery now, but when we first found out, it's very world shaking. That's kind of interesting and that's hard to deal with, but you can't really give up because you have someone who relies on you. So you're not going to stop. And then as you get moving, or as we went through, it's like I don't know if everyone goes through like a work lull, I'll call it, where it's like your drive is up here and then for some reason it's right down here and you got to fight tooth and nail to get it right back up here. I don't know what it is, but I go through those weird waves. And so that's like, don't give up. You can't really afford to because people rely on you, but it's better if you rely on yourself to not.
How did you feel when you first found out you had a deaf son?
That was interesting. I told him no. So our situation was a little bit different. We went to a birthing center, and then the birthing center sent us over to the hospital when we were trying to give birth because her water had broke and it had been over 24 hours. When that happens, there's a risk of mom getting infected and baby getting infected. So they send you over to the hospital. We were over there, and then they're like, "Oh, do you want us to do the hearing test?" And we talked to the birthing center, and they're like, "No, we'll do it, so don't worry about it." We kind of had a falling out with the birthing center to where we were like, "We're done with you guys. Don't come over. We're sick of you." You know.
Do you want to tell us why you had a falling out or no? If it's a touchy subject,
it's
that's
not
fine.
a touchy subject. I just don't know how well founded it was because I was sleep deprived. So I would need further thought to be like, that was good or that was. It might have been me. The problem probably was me. Essentially, I just was also bitter because it was like we already paid the whole birthing center. Like the whole birth was paid off over there. And then it's like, rush over here. There's a brand new $8,000 bill or whatever it was to have this baby over here. And so I was like, you guys don't do anything. Go away. And there's more nuance to that, but it's not really worth getting into. Anyway, the birthing center didn't end up doing the hearing test. We didn't really think about it or even notice that we didn't do it. And 7 months later is when we were like, oh, he can't hear. And at first I tried to like placebo myself is what I would call it. Like there were weird moments where it felt like almost uncanny. You'd walk in the room, you'd say his name, and he'd look at you. But come to find out it was probably just like the vibrations of you walking up or something like that that would make him look. And so when the hospital was like, your son is profoundly deaf, I was like, my perfect angel is not deaf. Everything's fine. So that was a little bit of denial. And then going into that, kind of a whole thing, it's just kind of the way that the world is ran. You have to talk to this doctor to get referred to this doctor to get referred to this clinic that could actually test him and do all these things. So even that, we suspected he was deaf at 7 months. We didn't even find out till like 9 after a couple doctor visits. So it was kind of interesting.
What does it mean to be profoundly deaf?
That's the interesting part. I think that they're not allowed to say your son is deaf, can't hear. I don't know why they say that, but I've talked to other people who have had children that are deaf, and the doctors all say the same thing. So with my son, it's like he is profoundly deaf, and with their daughter, it's like, well, she is like, there was a different word they used, but it's like, it basically means the same thing. I can't remember the word, but it was certainly, she's deaf. But when they're like, he's profoundly deaf, it's like, what does that mean? Like all the way? Or what?
That's what I was
I
thinking.
dropped out of
Like
high
a
school. I
scale
don't
of,
know.
like,
Yeah.
slightly to remarkably to profoundly.
Yeah, and it was remarkably. Yeah. It was a whole experience. And now that we're all found out, and then it's a whole nother experience waiting to find out if you can do cochlear surgery, because that's essentially like, here's someone who can't hear. We're going to give them the option to hear, right? And so even that is a series of tests, and it's just weeks and maybe months of waiting, crossing your fingers, hoping that your son can get, or your daughter, your child can get this cochlear surgery that can let them be as close to normal as they can be. So that was kind of how that whole experience went. Now we're learning sign language, and that's a lot of fun. But
This is a little bit off subject, but
that's okay.
I wanted to ask. You mentioned earlier that you're almost giddy when you get on podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about when you hear the playback and you hear your own voice?
It's a little bit cringe comp.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So I start to pick it apart, like what I said, what should I have said, and everything like that. As far as even like, well, I coughed into the mic and I said like too much and too much, and then everything like that. But it is still a lot of fun for me. I think there's a little, like a sliver of narcissism where I just kind of like doing it. I've listened to my podcast that I did on Ryan's like 3 times.
Okay.
Just picking it apart. That one sucked, but I get giddy on podcasts because it feels like it's a step in the right direction of my goal. And even that goal is not very defined yet, to like to be someone who was asked to come and talk. This is what that was, and that felt awesome to be like, that's like a sliver of what I wanted, what I mean? So I get really excited about it.
What about regrets? What are things in your life that you regret?
It's certainly a few. I think I wish that I would have been a better older brother. I don't think I did a very good job until now, or until last year. And even in the realm of like standard older brother things, like I experienced things, but instead of being like, here's how to do that, I just fricked off over there. You know what I mean? And I fricked off over there and I got high literally upstairs. And then you guys, not just you, but like other siblings would come upstairs and be like, oh, what are you doing? What are you up to? And it's like, I'm high. That's what I'm up to. That's what I do. So that's a regret too, is like I just smoked pot instead of kind of bonding and seeing my siblings grow. That's probably my biggest regret. That and being kind of a rude older sibling as far as babysitting and everything like that. So
what propelled you to want to connect more?
When I realized my relationships with my family sucked, after I decided to stop smoking pot and you go hang out with the family, it's like awkward and weird because I don't do that. You know what I mean? So it's like everyone's sitting there having breakfast or whatever the heck, and I feel like the odd one out, and you kind of are. Everyone's meshing normal, but I'm over here like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. The last interaction I had with all you guys, I was like high as a kite. I don't remember what I said. This is weird for me. So that made me want to be like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I'm just going to be as helpful as I can be.
What sort of changes did you have to make to your life other than quitting pot?
You have to actively be willing to help people, which I know that's probably a thing that comes to most people. I don't know that it did to me. I never had anything that was like, I'm just looking to do what's best and looking to help in any way that I can. The way that I see it is I want to help those people around me because what if I need help someday or sometime? And now it's not just that now it is like I care deeply and I want you guys to succeed and I want you to have those things that you want. And so I'll do what I can to help out with that. But at the start, it was like, I don't know. I feel like if I asked any of my siblings, would you help me move? They would have no obligation to say yeah. Because you're not a very good brother. And then I was scared of being the older brother that that our dad has. Some of these brothers where it's like, we don't talk about those brothers
Mm.
and those sisters. They suck. You know what I mean? So it's like,
You didn't want
I
us to
was
learn from
so-
a bad example.
yeah, deathly afraid of being that brother that is the piece of work on everyone's life. So no.
Mhm.
We're going to change that right here, right now. You know?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there's anyone who still sees you that way?
No, I don't know. Hope not. I'm not sure. I know that you and me didn't have the best relationship. Me and Simmy and Lady didn't have the best relationship. Me and Gracie certainly didn't. I think that it's way better now,
Mm-hmm.
but they'll have to let me know.
I don't know. I never really noticed a problem. I thought you were a great older brother. I learned a lot from you,
Thank you.
except for that one time, but
What
we haven't
time?
gone into that.
What did I do?
I remember one time you and Travi were like passing a ball back and forth in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I was like 4. We had like just moved into the house at this point, and I hated this because you guys like threw the ball and it bumped on a plate, knocked it off the counter, and it shattered.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't just upset with you and Travi, but everyone, because Dad whistled. We all ran in and said, "What broke?" We said, "A plate." And he said, "Who broke it?" And every single one of you guys said, "It was Jaxie." And I was like, "No, it wasn't me. It was Travi and Benny. They were playing and they broke it." But everyone was like, "No, he's lying. It was him." So I got thumped twice,
man.
once for breaking it and once for lying.
Dang it. Sorry.
That's fine.
I don't remember doing that, but it does sound like something I would have done.
Mhm.
Did I ever tell you? You might have watched it happen. Did you ever see me get the pants down spanking?
I don't think I remember that.
I was like 12.
Oh,
I was
whoa.
like old enough, yeah. You know, when you start going to middle school, or I did. In middle school, I was insecure about changing in the locker room. I didn't want to take my pants off and clothes off or whatever.
We
And
all
so
were.
I would wear shorts under my clothes. And then, so I would wear shorts under my clothes. And I don't know what I was doing, but I disrespected Dad in some way. And then he was like, "Get over here, you're getting a spanking." And I was like, "Okay." And then he spanked me. I was like, "That didn't hurt at all." Like, I looked him in his eyes and was like, "That didn't hurt." And so he's like, "I bet." And he stripped it down and boom. And it did hurt. And that's the only pants down spanking I've ever had.
Ugh. What did it teach you?
Don't look the gift horse in the mouth. Should have just been grateful it didn't hurt and played the fool. Said it out.
Heck yeah. Do we have any viewers, Darren? Do the viewers
Really?
want to ask any questions to Benny?
Good question.
I was thinking to do that for all of our podcasts moving forward.
Nice.
I don't actually know. Paige said she's going thrifting.
She's going.
She is? Heck yeah. Well, I was hoping they would have some questions because I'm running low. What's your favorite book?
Ooh. Singular book, or does like a series count?
Both.
Okay. Well, my favorite series is probably going to be Red Rising right now. I enjoy that one a whole lot, and I am like excited for the new books to drop. My favorite singular book that I've read was The Fountainhead. Listen to that one a lot. I
That was
enjoyed it
good.
a lot.
Have you read Atlas Shrugged yet?
I haven't. I have a hard time getting into it for some reason.
I've got a physical copy if you prefer. I know that
I might.
well, you'd have to wait till Morgan's done with it, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that one's something you want to take notes on. Anyway,
Yeah. I hear that a lot. I hear that one's really good.
it's way better than The Fountainhead, I think. Could you walk me through why those two are your favorites?
Well, I really like Red Rising. It's kind of a whole thing, but mostly it just scratched all those itches that I was kind of looking for, that like subconsciously looking for. I didn't even know I was looking for those itches, but it's like I like the story of where the underdog gets up on top. Okay, that happened.
Mm.
And then I like the story where he's not so OP that he can't be beat.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because I read a lot of books where it's like, this guy is so strong that he can't be beat by anyone. And I read a lot of those, and it's like, okay, well, that's not that good of a story at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
nothing's gonna happen. And so it scratched that itch. It's very well narrated on the Audible that I listened to, and I'm not really sure. I've always found myself going back and re-listening to it. Beautiful work of art.
I've always hated the unbeatable protagonist too. I think that if it's done right, like I don't know if you know Alan Moore.
I'm not sure.
I think his most famous work is Watchmen.
Oh yeah.
That's his best work, I'd say. He wrote V for Vendetta.
Do you think The Watchmen's better than V for Vendetta?
Well, I didn't read the comic yet, but
okay.
I read the comic for Watchmen, and that one was freaking amazing.
I'd have to read that because I only ever watched the little TV series, and I think I was underwhelmed.
I heard that the TV series was way worse, and they even gave the characters powers when half the point of Watchmen is that the characters don't have powers.
Really?
Except for one of them.
Okay, Dr. Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, because I watched a bit of the series, and it's like everyone's got... It feels like a DC ripoff. You know what I mean? So...
It kind of is, actually. So there was this company called Charlton Comics, and they created a lot of characters. My favorite being The Question, though notably they created characters such as Blue Beetle and Captain Atom.
Okay.
And DC bought them out, and they did nothing. Wrote 0 comics with these characters. And after 10 years, Alan Moore went and said, I have an idea for a story. Let me use these characters. And DC said, no. And so he said, screw you guys. And he created a whole cast of characters who were almost those same characters. So like the main character, Rorschach, is based on The Question. His friend, Night Owl, is based on Blue Beetle. Captain Atom was turned into Dr. Manhattan. And stuff like that. The story is actually really good. It basically, like, it starts with a murderer who's going around killing superheroes.
Yeah.
And it asks the question, basically, to what lengths are you willing to go to avoid a war? And I think that was just so good. I've got the comic if you want to read it.
That's cool.
It was definitely worth it.
There's always so much more nuance to things than I think, which I like having you explain them to me, because, you know, if I watch a trailer for The Watchmen, I'm like, lame. I'm not going to do that, but that does sound a lot more cool. There is something that I would ask you, though. So there's a hypothetical where the person you love is tied down on a train track, and then there's... Sorry. The person you love is tied down on a train track on one side, and you're controlling which way it's going to go, right? Train's it's going to fork. And then there's someone over here on this tied down. You don't know them, right? Which one are you choosing? The train's coming. There's no cop out. There's no, I would blow up the train. There's none of that. Let's just say. Which one are you choosing?
Well, this is actually easier than I expected. I expected it to be like my wife versus a handful of people.
It gets there.
Oh,
well, I want to see what the limit.
Well, right now it's one life versus one life. And I think that there's like an equal value there. And so I would save my wife. I'd flip the switch, and then I would run over and try to get the person out before the train gets there. But if I couldn't, then I would know that my wife was safe.
Right. But, and remember, you have to keep in mind, there's no, you get to go save them, there's no any of that.
Yeah, but I would absolutely try.
Sure, I get you. I would too. But I just don't think, in the scenario, it's not going to happen, right? And so, now there's 10 people. Are you going to choose your wife? Or are you going to choose 10 random people? After you're done, I'll tell you what I would do.
Okay. This is a hard one because I am selfish about my wife and I love her, but also I'm fairly egotistical. And so I would assume that I could flip the switch, run over, and save people. And so I'd want to go with the easiest one, being one person as opposed to 10. That's why it's difficult. It's because I want to guarantee the safety of my wife.
Right.
But also, because I would think to myself that I could run over and save them. And if they were all tied down individually, then saving my wife only would be way easier. And if I could succeed, I'd save 11 people. But if I failed, I lose my wife.
That's in this scenario, you would just fail to save one side.
I know. That's
like
what
there's a gun to your head, doesn't matter. You're not running. You're not.
I know. I'm just trying to take everything into account. It's like, because I would assume that I could save my wife.
Yeah.
But I'd probably. Do I know any of the 10 people?
No.
I'd probably kill the 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
I like my wife a lot.
So then I would ask, how many people would have to be laying there to justify you killing your wife and not the people? It's a question of morality. There's no wrong answer and there's no right answer.
I know.
There is one for morality's sake, but nobody wants to say it.
These are the sort of questions I don't like, because I happen to like it more black and white. Like I do see the world as like it's either right or it's wrong.
Yeah.
And so I hate these.
I hate them too. I got asked
questions.
it, and I'll tell you what I did. So the scenario for me was like, okay, your son is on the line on this one, and there's 10 people over here. And I didn't even think about it. I just was like, we're running over 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
That's my son, you know? Yeah. And so they keep asking me, they're like, okay, well, what about 20, 50, 100 people? And in my head, I'm still like, do I know any of them personally? You know, which sucks, and it's not morally good. But at the same time, for me, it's like it means something to be someone I care about. I will choose you over someone I do not know. And so there's no limit of people you could lay right there that would make me want to kill someone who I know.
Mm-hmm.
Which sucks. And I would take the fast pass straight to hell.
Have you heard the phrase, basically the difference between a hero and a villain is that a hero will sacrifice you to save the world, but a villain will sacrifice the world to save you.
That's a good analogy, and I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I might be the bad guy in that one.
Of course, it's a little bit gruesome, but there is a quote from Joseph Stalin, which says, 1 death is a tragedy, 1 million is a statistic. I know that is not an awesome quote. However, I think that kind of illustrates the point. It's like, I will be way more heartbroken if my wife dies than if 100,000 people die. Of course, I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah.
But I'll be more upset about my wife.
I don't want to cause genocide, but there's an aspect of life also, like for the scenario of it being my son, it's a little bit different, right? That's my posterity, I think is the right word. And so there's almost like there's a human, it's like almost my most natural human code is to survive and multiply. You know what I mean? Like create more, make your DNA thrive. So there's like in my coding, it's like I'm choosing mine. What's that?
I said be fruitful and multiply.
Kind of, but even out of a religious state, it's like, what do things do? Like improvise, adapt, and then you continue. You want your genetics to keep going forever, right? And so that's what I'm going to choose. And it's weird. It's not moral at all. It's actually immoral, but that's tricky. I've not really had anyone that was close in my life die before.
I was just about to ask how you handle it.
Well, I couldn't really tell you. I had a pretty close scare over the weekend. Not close to death, but it was certainly my closest experience to being like, I'm in the ER. This weekend? It's last weekend.
Can you
the
say
electric bike incident. You don't know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Yeah, I was there.
It was a motorcycle.
It's dang near. It goes 70 miles an hour.
Whoa.
But yeah, that was my closest experience to being to like not even near death, but that's like, we're rushed to the ER. Only people who have bad things happen get rushed to the ER, you know? So not quite as different. And even then, I don't think I'm the best guy to go to the ER with. Because I don't know how to deal with bad things happening. So I started making jokes and shitting around. And it was not the vibe.
Yeah.
but I didn't know how else to just deal with it. So,
For me, I kind of think that I get like all the way serious because like I hate the sight of blood. If you show me a video of someone just like getting ripped to shreds, like I close my eyes. I don't want to see that. I remember when Jaron found that out. He showed me a video and then looked at me and was like, "You didn't like that, did you?" And I was like, "No. How could you tell?" And he was like, "You look really queasy." But like I hate that stuff. And then the second there's someone in front of me, bleeding, like drilled a hole in their hand or something, I was like, I go all stone faced. Let's clean that out, wrap it up, do all this stuff, pull out the nail, whatever needs to happen. I'm all the way on it, all business.
Which in that scenario, I think is great. You know, you're gonna need that. The other scenario is like this guy just ate crap on a bike, and he's got a concussion, and his collarbone's broken, and his face is fractured. We didn't know any of this when we found him. It just was like, oh.
When you found him?
Yeah.
Was he just
passed out? Yeah. On the road.
So like you went and tried it out?
Well, he went up the road riding the bike, right? And then around the bend, and we couldn't really see him, but he had ridden the bike before, so we weren't really worried. And then about, I want to say it was like 8 minutes later, we decided we should probably call him. That's a long time to be gone. And then we called him, and we're like, "Oh, dude, you okay? You good?" And then he was saying, he's like, "I think I'm good. I think I'm okay." And then there was a voice in the background of some lady who pulled him out of the street that was like, "You are not good. The ambulance is on its way. You were lying in the street passed out after crashing on this bike." So we whipped it down there. The ambulance got there. It was a whole thing. And then we followed him over to the ER. And then got transferred over to a different hospital that had the proper tools to deal with all that. He ended up not needing surgery, and he already went home. But it was an interesting ordeal to be a part of.
I'm glad to hear you got out safe.
It's kind of earth-shaking. Have you ever talked to someone with dementia?
I think I have, actually, yeah.
You ever had them forget what you just asked them?
Not several times. Just asked them.
It was like that. And it was just the concussion. It's not lasting damage for him, but it was like, you know, you'd walk in there and my arm hurts. Is it broken? Your arm's broken. Okay, that makes sense. It hurts. My arm hurts. Is it broken? Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
My arm hurts. It's like, yeah.
For me, I think my only real experience was, so Grandma Carol, I heard that she's been going with some dementia stuff, and I didn't really pick up on it until I went over and visited. Last time I went and visited, she didn't call me by name or anything. Because she actually calls me Benny all the time.
Really?
Because
she doesn't even call me Benny.
No, she back when she used to say like, "Hi, such and such," greet everyone by name, she accidentally greeted me as Benny. And ever since then, she would make a joke and greet me as Benny. And then last time I went and greeted her, she was like, "Oh, hi, hun, how you doing?" And I was like, "Oh no,
I got hun.
Grandma doesn't remember our joke."
Every day that I saw her, I never got, "What's up, Benny?" So that's crazy that she called you me. It's funny. She must have just liked me. She used to send Travi birthday cards that said my name on them on his birthday. It's awesome. I didn't get to keep any of it.
Terrible.
It like, hell yeah.
That is funny. I love Grandma. Actually, I want to get Grandpa on here.
Yeah.
I think he's got a lot of stories. Like
I'm sure.
One thing I'm concerned about is we did Amaron, and like an hour or two in, we had to just start goofing off because he doesn't. Yeah, he hasn't lived that long. He's younger than me, and I'm a young one. You know.
Yeah.
Like that's something I'm concerned about doing this podcast, and why I want to get a lot of older people on is because we don't have enough life that we've lived to sit here and tell stories for 2 hours and teach lessons.
That's fair. if you're in the realm of teaching lessons, but you can always have an opinion on something. So that's like the podcast that I was wanting to do was like, there's no guidelines, none of that. I just want you to talk about what your current hyperfixation is. You know?
Okay.
So what's yours? What's yours right
Mine?
now? Mm-hmm.
Oh, probably writing.
Mm-hmm.
I've been writing.
It's what you find yourself doing all the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, I haven't written in a while. I've been playing video games. I know I should be writing instead, but they're just so fun. Also,
what do you play?
Mostly the 3 games I've been playing lately is Ghost of Tsushima, because I want to finish that story, but there's just so much story to it. It's so good. I don't want to play the main story until I've got all the caught up on the side stories.
Yeah.
But that one's like so great.
Mm-hmm.
It Takes Two, because Paisley and I beat Split Fiction.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That one pretty cool?
It was way fun. The story was a little bit questionable because there's like some big author creates technology that lets you fall asleep and you live through your story and it writes it down. And he was trying to steal people's stories this way to sell them to make millions instead of just selling this groundbreaking technology.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of silly. That
it had plot armor for sure.
Yeah. The gameplay was a lot of fun. At the end, the story actually, or like the characters got better, because at the start, one character is like, "Oh, you did this in your story. Can we delve into the psychology of that?" Like, no, you're annoying, you know? But at the end, she stopped doing that, and it was just so good. I also really loved, because I'm a bit more traditional, it's 2 girls, and the whole time I was worried they were going to end up and be like, "I love you, let's smooch." But right at the end, they're like, the machine starts breaking down and they drop into their subconscious. And so they have to go through like their deepest, innermost thoughts, even they aren't aware of. And right at the end, one jumps over at the other and gives them a big hug and says, "You're my best friend." And I was like, yes. I want more like Frodo and Sam type characters, but like from the books, because in the movies, Frodo did almost nothing for Sam. In the books, like Frodo was as good a friend to Sam as Sam was to Frodo.
That's interesting. I actually was hearing the other day that so I find that boys will like pick apart girl movies and be like, "That wouldn't happen. This is not very realistic," you know, and kind of stuff like that. And so it's funny to have the script flipped a little bit. And so one of my buddies was telling me that he was watching Lord of the Rings, and it's at that scene where Frodo's leaving on the boat and Sam starts treading into the water, and he's like, "I'm almost crying, like, this is beautiful." And his wife is like, "That wouldn't happen." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "There's a boat right there. There's a boat right there. Like, you would not, if you couldn't swim, you would not just tread into that water and do it." And he's like, "Shut up." Like, it's just funny to have that, you know, boys have like their fantasy of like, no, Sam is like, he would die for Frodo. It's like, but not right there.
If you read the book, it makes more sense because they were actually like real boats, not just little canoes. And,
so you couldn't just take it out there.
Yeah, and Sam and Frodo actually didn't know how to operate a boat. It was like them, Pippin, and Gimli were the only ones who didn't know how to operate a boat. And also, when Frodo went missing, Aragorn went up to sit on this chair. I forget what it's called, but from this chair, he can see like everything in the realm. And he says, "Sam, come with me. We're going to go up to that chair and try to find Frodo." And Sam's following him, and then he says and thinks like, "No, my dad told me that I need to sit and think things out. And I'm going to think things out because I know Frodo. He's my best friend. What would I do in his position? What would he do that I know he would do? I know he doesn't want to put anyone else in danger." Because even at the start of the story, Frodo tells Sam, like, he doesn't get Gandalf to tell Sam he has to go with him. He gets Gandalf to swear Sam to secrecy. And even Sam goes and breaks that vow of secrecy which creates the group called the Conspirators, which is Sam, Mary, Pippin, and their friend Fatty.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember his real name, but they call him Fatty. But basically, they all helped Frodo move. It was Sam was promised to not tell anyone about the ring, or that Frodo would have to leave, or any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And he went and he broke that promise to tell Mary and Pippin.
Mm-hmm.
And you see this sort of stuff again and again with Sam, is that he will easily break a promise if he thinks that it's for the greater good.
Yeah.
And that's actually one thing I love about Samwise, is when Frodo first finds out, he comes out of the bathroom and sees that they're all talking about how he has to go on an adventure, and he's livid, he's pissed, and he's like, Sam, how could you break that promise to me?
Mm-hmm.
And Sam is like shrinking in on himself. He doesn't know what to do. And Mary stands up and says one of what I think is like one of the best lines in the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
He steps up and says, don't you be mad at Sam.
Mm-hmm.
We all should be mad at you. We're your friends, Frodo. There are things you can trust us with, and there are things you can't trust us with. You can trust us to have your back and to keep any secret better than you keep it yourself. But you cannot trust us to sit here in comfort and safety while you run off to danger.
That is a banger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really should have known the lore on that, but I've
Yeah.
never listened to it or read it.
Oh, I love it. It's so good. But yeah, at that part, Sam just knows his best friend, and he goes to it. And even, have you heard the song Once and For All, or Now and For Always? Sorry.
Who's it by?
They actually made a Lord of the Rings musical, and basically, if you remember the part in the movies where Sam is saying, like, just imagine our kids when they come and say, like, tell me a story about Frodo and the ring.
Mm-hmm.
He was very brave, wasn't he? And Frodo says, you left out my favorite character, Samwise the Bold. And in the book, he says, Samwise the Stout-Hearted.
Mm-hmm.
And in the book, when he says this, Sam says, don't make jokes, Mr. Frodo. I was being serious. And Frodo
Mhm.
looks at him and says, so was I,
Yeah.
Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam is like super touched by this, and he stands a little taller for the rest of the story. And even Frodo didn't push Sam away when he went into Shelob's lair.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was they went in there, and Sam saw Gollum creeping up to attack Frodo.
Mm-hmm.
And so he chases him off, and he's running after him, and he's like right about to kill him when he hears Frodo scream, and he runs back and sees Shelob. And that was such an awesome scene. It was better in the book because it's like all the emotion of it.
Mm-hmm. That makes
But
sense.
in this musical version, the song has Sam singing to tell Frodo, basically, like, think about the Shire. We're doing this for the Shire. We're trying to save the place we love and our home.
Mm-hmm.
And then it doesn't really touch Frodo, and so he says, now imagine our kids coming to say, tell me the story about Frodo and the ring.
Mm-hmm.
He was fearless and bold. And he even had a legendary elf blade called Sting. And then I think in the play, Sam falls asleep after that, and Frodo sings the last verse on his own.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, basically, tell me a tale of the bravest of them all. And this is exactly what he says, is, tell me a tale of the bravest of them all. Comrade and guide at my side, stout-hearted Sam who wouldn't let me fall, holding my life in his hands. True to the end, no finer friend, now and for always. I think that's awesome. And I even brought up on the last podcast that I think that that's basically the epitome of friendship. And I think that shows, like, that one scene with Frodo shows just how much he loves Sam, even though he doesn't, like, go out of his way and march halfway across Middle-earth for Sam alone, like Sam did for Frodo. He still, if Sam asked anything of him, you know that he would do it.
Yeah.
And even, like, when Sam goes to tell Frodo that he's getting married, Sam says, like, I'm getting married. And Frodo was like, huh, that's funny, because I was just thinking, you deserve a better house than what you're in. You should move in here with me. And Frodo and Sam's like, I don't want to make the decision between moving in here with you and getting married.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to make the decision between my best friend and my wife. And Frodo just laughs his butt off and says, Sam, I want to invite you in here because this place is so big and extravagant and so nice that really you're the only man who deserves to live here. And there's plenty of space for you and your wife and all the kids you could wish to have.
And that's when he ditched to go to the elves, or what?
That was a couple years before that. But even one thing I think was super cool of Sam is because he was also a ring bearer for a time, is he got to go to the Undying Lands, but he like raised a family, even naming his first son Frodo after his best friend. And he just grew old, and then when he was like probably gonna die next year, he was like, all right, son, take me to the Undying Lands now. Like, you know.
I think that's how I would roll too. So if you're in the Undying Lands, do you have to be just old forever?
I don't really know how it works.
Because that would
It doesn't
suck.
really explain.
You'd go, like, if you don't immediately go right back to your prime, then it just doesn't make sense to go there later.
Maybe. I mean, if
Imagine
your best
being
friend was
90
there,
years old. Yeah, but imagine you have dementia.
that would suck, yeah.
In the Undying Land, dude, it's like ain't nobody wants you to be here.
Yeah, but one thing is like, I'm a writer myself. I've studied all this story stuff. And one of my favorite things about Lord of the Rings is that it doesn't give you all the answers. And I've actually learned that invites study. And that invites study in all sorts of fantasy. That's like the reason for doing it. Not only does it invite study, but like discourse, and it invites your mind to wander in it, which invites the book to linger in your head for a long time after. I can think of like a few different examples with this, but I don't know if you want to read The Wheel of Time, and that one's probably my favorite example.
I probably will eventually, but it's such a long haul.
It was good mostly. There were some bad parts. I'm very open about disliking Nynaeve, though some people like her.
I have a hard time wanting to read another Brandon Sanderson book. They're really good when you read them. I've never read a book and been like, that sucked. It's always awesome. But
I have thought books sucked.
By him?
Well, by anyone, really.
Well, yeah. I've read books and thought they sucked. But I mean, by Brandon Sanderson, I haven't been like, I hated that. But they're so long sometimes. It's such a thing. Like, it throws off your vibe, you know, because when I listen to books, like, the reason that Red Rising is one of my favorite series is because it's fast-paced. Stuff happens pretty quick, you know. So there's beauty in the slow, but there's also beauty in the fast.
I think that you need to do some speeding up and slowing down, but it has to make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So, like, if your characters are in a fight, you obviously want it to go fast, and then if they're running away from someone, you want it to go fast, and then if they're camping out at a fire, you kind of want to slow down. You want to, like, chill out. There's a lot of people who actually say that, like, they've put down books because it's fast-paced the whole time, and it, like, they don't get any moment to just chill out.
That's fair, too. I guess I could see that side.
I've enjoyed most Brandon Sanderson books, at least to a point. I didn't really like the non-Kaladin parts of Stormlight Book 4.
They're harder to like. I actually really enjoyed Book 4. I liked all the Navani parts. But it was kind of cool because you get a whole lot of like lore breakdown. Not necessarily lore, but like here's a scientific breakdown of how all this stuff works. It's like, damn, this is kind of cool. So I did like all that beside. But I'm also not like, I'm not a Shallan hater. So Book 5 was, I'm not going to tell you Book 5 was some work of art, but I didn't mind it, you know.
I am a Shallan hater. I'm also a Lyria hater. Like,
that's fair, but you have to, I'm not. And at first I was. And Lyria was like, she's hard to listen to. And then I learned the tech of speed it up. And it's not near as bad.
Speeding it up.
It's kind of better.
Yeah, my biggest problem is with like the characters themselves, not the pacing. Because like, I think that Shallan is annoying, and the jokes she makes are stupid. Lyria, I think that she's overly whiny. You know, like she whines about basically being freed from the mines. And she
Only in
whines.
that first book.
Yeah. But that
That
was
whole
the
thing.
first impression.
Yeah, but you have to look past that because like books 4 and 5 are way different, right? Book 4 is very what you're saying, like it's hard. It's introduction to new characters and it's also introduction to new narrators, which is kind of a harder adjustment when you really liked your one narrator. And so book 5 comes around and it's like, okay, this is better if I speed up a couple of these parts. I really enjoy it. The world building there is really cool because you have to have the politicking of different colors. Here's how life is for someone who of this stature versus all the way up here. Because right now it's like books 1 through 3 is like, here's Daryl, and it's just this. It's just awesome. Everything's goated. You're the king of the world. And then it's like, okay, book 4 is you're Julius Caesar and you have the army over here, but the whole Republic is telling you not to do that. And the Republic votes not to do that, but they're not necessarily right because a lot of the people in the Republic are voting that you should do that. You should free all colors, not just us, you know? So it's like every side is a little bit valid. And that's when you have the best bad guys is when they're like, it was valid.
Yeah.
You know? So it's, I really enjoyed it because I thought every take was very understandable at the very least. Not that you would do it, but it is like, that makes sense.
Honestly, my favorite, a lot of things, but like for when it comes to stories, my favorite power systems and villains are the ones that Newton's third law applies to and describes. I like to use that for the book I am working on, which is, of course, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Yeah. And so basically, you have every character. Like, the main character, the villain, is equal and opposite to them. For, like, the magic system in that, I wanted it to be, whatever you do with the magic, something equal and opposite occurs.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's one character who's kind of based on Sleeping Beauty, and, like, she's cursed to fall asleep forever. But whenever she sleeps, she can enter the dream world and has full control over that.
Yeah. So it's not just a debuff.
Yeah. So every curse brings something good and every blessing brings something bad. But there's like, if you say throw a fireball at someone, it can have you getting burned or someone else getting wet, or maybe you even get frostbite. Like there's something. Basically, I got sick of reading books where it says magic always has a price. And then it only has a price when it's convenient for the narrative.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do it where it's always there.
That's fair, but if you do it when it's always there, wouldn't it be the case that nobody does magic?
Not necessarily, because...
If you can't predict the outcome, then why would you do it?
Well, for one thing, there are characters who can predict the outcome.
Okay.
One of them, who's kind of based on Merlin, is like... He created this cloak, which is used by a character akin to Red Riding Hood, because this story is basically a compilation of all my favorite stories with a twist.
Yeah.
And I was actually telling you a little bit about it, but this Red Riding Hood cloak, basically, if you wear it, you become invisible to all evil creatures. But the drawback to it is that you become visible to all non-evil creatures.
Yeah.
And so he's considered basically the greatest because he's so adept at it that you can basically choose how it will be with the outcome. And some people will get into it thinking that they can do that or thinking that they can outdo it. Some people might think like, if I control that person's mind and I lose control of my left arm while I'm controlling that person's mind, I'm not left-handed. That's not such a big deal, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So there wouldn't be like crazy wizard battles for most of it. And I was even going to have one part where one of the characters asks an old wizard, he says like, what's the difference between a wizard and a sorcerer? And he says, well, sorcerers practice magic and wizards study it. And the real difference here is that sorcerers usually die young and that wizards grow old. And the reason for that is because wizards are wise enough to not really use the magic.
That does seem like the case. Even in Lord of the Rings, it's like, oh, that's Gandalf the wizard. It's like, do anything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I actually,
This is based off the movie, what I'm saying, but it's like, do anything useful, dude. Come on.
I actually love when he does use magic because it's basically the same times exactly as he uses it in the book. Not so much in The Hobbit, but in the movie. And it doesn't say he uses magic, but like, you remember the part where they go to the Tower of Orthanc to confront Saruman?
Yeah. When he's still the gray? Or when he's the white?
No, he's the white at this point.
Yeah.
But basically, he shows up and, like, this is right after the Battle at Helm's Deep, so he's got Aragorn, Merry and Pippin, Theoden, all of them with him. And Saruman is talking to him, and he's leaning over the railing, and he cusses him out and turns around and storms inside. And it doesn't say anything, really. It just says that Gandalf stood there for a second, and then he goes, "Come back, Saruman." And it says that Saruman came back as if dragged over to the railing.
Yeah.
And he leaned on it with heavy breath. And
that is tough.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool magic.
I like that. And then a second after that, Saruman basically says that he's greater than Gandalf and doesn't have to listen to him. And he says, like, Saruman of many colors, because earlier Saruman proclaimed himself to be of many colors instead of the white. He says, Saruman of many colors, Saruman of no colors. You thought yourself wiser than wise, but have proven yourself a fool. Saruman, your staff is broken. And then the staff shatters in his hands.
Did they do that in the movie too?
I don't know if they said the whole thing, but he definitely, in the extended versions, he says, your staff is broken.
Yeah.
But I love the subtler magic to it.
It is cool, but what it reminds me of is the I am that I am of Prince of Egypt.
I think it was actually kind of based on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm sure we all know that Lord of the Rings is kind of a Christian analogy for the Bible. Yeah. And I think that, like, even non-Christians can enjoy it because it's an excellent tale of courage, really. But Gandalf, of course, takes on the role of a guide and a deliverer.
Yeah.
Someone who sort of weaves strings that will come centuries later in much the same way that God is, especially in the Old Testament. I was actually thinking about that scene just earlier today and, like, how awesome that is. Like, Moses basically says, I can't go out and confront Pharaoh. And God says, who made man? Did you? Are you going to tell me what man can do when you haven't created any? That movie was also really good.
So far.
I would even recommend it to atheists.
It probably is just a good watch.
It is,
even
absolutely.
if you're atheist. It's
well,
just
the brother versus brother is always a good story. But you know, there's actually a theory that Moses had like a crazy stutter or speech impediment or something.
I thought that wasn't a theory. I thought that was canon.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, because in the Old Testament, he spoke through Aaron.
Yeah.
He would tell Aaron.
That's
would
where the
say
theory
it,
comes from, is that
Moses would talk to God.
He says, like, but Lord, I cannot speak. But it didn't specify why he said that, so I wasn't sure if he was saying, like...
Yeah, so I guess I see that it's a
how
theory.
am I one who could talk to Pharaoh or something?
Which is pretty crazy.
I did want to ask earlier, you said your favorite books were Red Rising and The Fountainhead. And I had two questions about the reasons you gave.
Okay.
One was, you said that in Red Rising, he's kind of like the underdog. Do you ever see yourself as the underdog?
Not really. I wish that I could say yes to that because I love the underdog story. I don't think I've ever had anything hard in my life, particularly. Like, in the moment, it felt hard to me. Looking back at it now, it's like, not really. That wasn't anything particularly to deal with.
Okay.
Not, especially not compared to anyone else's things, you know? So, No, not quite. I'm not the underdog.
I'm super egotistical, so I've never in my life felt like an underdog.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask you the other question when I come back, but I have to go to
Okay.
the bathroom.
Did you just pause it while we wait, or what? Just let it rip. My favorite memory? Ooh. It's a little bit tricky. Now I have to get into politics. The politicking of wife and baby. Do you choose your marriage date or your day you had a baby? Do I be like my wedding day? Because that wins with the wife. Or do I say the day I had a baby? Because we could both share that day and we did have a baby. So I don't know. Maybe it's that day. But when I think about it, that day was like good and sucked. So it was a long day and it was a lot of fun. The marriage day was so fun. I think the favorite memory has to be a little more recently for me. And it's like I get to watch my son learn how to do sign language. My wife's there. She's excited about it. I'm excited about it. And he is sitting there babbling with his hands trying to say stuff. And that's the most fun to me. It's like seeing him learn. That's the coolest thing.
How old is he?
He is 2 in May. So he is just about 23 months. He's a big pooch. Which I don't know where that came from because I'm a pretty small dude.
So, viewer The Vegan says, your favorite book is The Fountainhead. Did you ever read Atlas Shrugged?
I did not. And I know that I need to. I just have a hard time listening to it comparatively to The Fountainhead.
Could you tell me why?
Not really. I couldn't even tell myself why I'd have a hard time listening to it. I think it's just one of those ones I need to sit down and do it. And I probably should. I keep finding excuses to not do it though. It's like a weird mental block. I don't know if you guys ever have things like that where it's like I just can't bring myself to do it.
Sometimes. You ever heard my theory about quotes? Oh, well, I have this theory that great authors produce great quotes.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I like to use as an example is to ask people, what's your favorite Brandon Sanderson quote? So, what is it?
Well, there's the first reaction, but I don't want that one to be my favorite because it seems generic.
Is it the whole honor is dead one?
Yeah, and it's banging too.
Okay. People usually tell me that, and what I tell them is like, yeah, honor is dead, well, I'll see what I can do. From Stormlight Book 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a great quote.
Mm-hmm.
That was an awesome scene. Great scene. Not a good quote. A good
Yeah.
quote can be taken out of context.
Mm-hmm.
Or applied to other context, And it was actually reading Atlas Shrugged that I came up with this theory, because even in the introduction, it goes into Ayn Rand's notes about the book.
Yeah.
So before it even gets to this book, she's describing Dagny Taggart, the main character, and says basically that her biggest flaw is that she thinks that she can be the only competent one. She thinks she can run the world all by herself. She thinks that her own energy and force of will can give other people the energy and excitement to be good workers.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says this awesome line, and I quote, "A mistake. Reason is not automatic. Those who deny it cannot be conquered by it. Do not count on them. Leave them alone." End quote. Like that middle part, reason is not automatic. Those who deny it cannot be conquered by it. I thought that was just such a good quote. Can be taken completely out of context. Like you can just open up by saying that. Zero context whatsoever. It's still a good quote. That is the difference between a good author and a great author. I mean, if Brandon Sanderson ever sees this, I think it'd be cool to get him on, but
You'd rather have
I'm
Ayn
not
Rand?
gonna. Yeah, of course I'd rather have her on. I'm not going to apologize for my own thoughts and thinking. If we were supposed to do that, we wouldn't be thinking creatures.
Where do we sit as far as conspiracy theories?
All the way.
All the way?
I love hearing about them.
I like all of them too. My favorite conspiracy theory that I wish was real is the ice wall.
Oh, I like that idea.
I don't know anything about anything, but I really wish that was real. Because you know what kind of a world we would live in if it was real? It's
A
like, what's
bigger,
beyond there? You
more
gonna make
open
it
world?
up? What?
A bigger, more open world where we get to be explorers.
Yeah, right? That's the best dream ever is like,
Oh yeah.
the worst thing ever is being born and it's like, everything's already been done. It's like, shut up, dude.
Mhm.
What? I don't want
I
to be a
hate that.
scientist. I just want to go find stuff.
I actually learned about a new conspiracy. I was listening to the
Okay.
Wi-File's Basement podcast, and he had
Yeah.
someone on talking about the Kensington Runestone, if you saw that one.
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, that guy was saying that he actually found a manuscript, which he calls like the Yeshua Scrolls,
Mm-hmm.
supposedly written by Yeshua himself, Yeshua being another name for Jesus,
Yeah.
and it
Damn.
describes stuff like the angel came to, like, and I quote, knew my mother. So, like, an angel came and got it on,
Doctor, yeah.
But I thought that this was a super fascinating idea. I don't know what truth there is to it,
Mm-hmm.
but he was saying that basically what the scroll is saying, at least the way he translated it, is like, I, being not entirely human, would not be killed by such things or a punctured intestine.
Mm-hmm.
He just says that he didn't die on the cross, but he slowed his breathing and was declared dead. Basically saying that he held his breath until everyone said he was dead. Which I think is so funny if it's made up and funnier if it's true.
Yeah.
Because, like, and I hope that any Christians watching this don't get mad, but I do think that it's important to at least learn the alternative stories, even if they're not something you come to believe in.
I think to a certain extent,
well,
I believe
everything
that.
is to a certain extent,
Yeah.
but he just goes on to talk about wild stuff and how, like, Jesus then took Mary Magdalene and went to Scotland to preach a joint gender religion or something. It was weird, but I love the wild stories like that.
That is funny. That's why it's on the Y files.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Have you seen any of that show?
I've seen a bit of them. Yeah, I like them.
Me too.
But-
Okay. Well, I had one more question to ask
Okay.
that is a bit serious.
Okay.
I want to say, oops. What do you see in yourself that you think your son can look up to?
It's a tough question.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly a question of like, how humble is this guy gonna be?
I want you to give as much answer as you can. I want to know all of it.
So I think there's a few things that I'm like, yes, please take these from me. And so a couple of those things are like, I want him to look up to, I think, how good I am at, I'm going to say making friends. That might sound arrogant, but I think that I have a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. I want you to like, try to make friends, try to be good at that. Try to make light of most situations. It's okay to be serious, but it's more okay to have a smile.
Mm-hmm.
It's more okay to always have a smile. Even though the situation sucked, if we can smile through it, we could find a way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And always be kind to your wife and to your mother and father. Be as kind as you can to everyone, but always make sure that you're patient to your wife. Those are 3 things I think that he could find to look up to.
In your answer, I actually came up with another question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an idea of how you want your son to be when he grows up?
No, and I'll tell you why. I try not to put any sort of expectation, idea, or even projection of how I want them to be, because I feel like that ruins. I don't want to preordain or manifest you being any which way. I want you to do it. Do you know what I mean? So, like, if I was born and someone was constantly, and dad was constantly like, I really wish Ben was like this, and I really wish Ben was like this, and I really want him to be like this, I would not feel very good. because I would feel like I have to be like that.
Mm.
Or I would feel like that, and then I would wonder why I had to be like that, you know?
Mhm.
And that was something like I never thought my son was going to be deaf, but I did constantly be like, I think my son's going to have a sense of humor. I think he does have a sense of humor now,
Mhm.
but I wish that I didn't push anything. I don't expect you to do anything. I don't expect you to, I just want you to be your most pure,
Mm.
welcome to the world, buddy,
Mhm.
you know?
For me, I know I don't really have kids yet, but
Mhm.
I want to have a whole handful of kids. And I don't want to say like, oh, well, I want this one to be the funny one and I want that one to be the hard worker. But I have an idea that I would like them all. Like, I want my kids to be courageous. I would not really be happy, I don't think, if someone came up and said, your children are all cowards. I would not like that. So do you have something like that?
I'd be more afraid of it being like, your kids are dicks, you know? I'm not so worried about the courageous thing. I do think that I don't think you would ever run into that because I think it's kind of a step-by-step basis when you have a kid. No one's going to come be like, in my head, no one's going to come be like, all your kids are cowards because you're going to work on them individually. So if one of your kids is scared of something, you go and you talk to them and you ask them why they're scared and you do the whole thing. It's
Mhm.
okay. It's not a big deal. It's just the slide, you know?
Yeah.
Like I've had Arthur be scared of stuff and then it's like, you know what happens? I hold your hand while you go down that slide.
Mhm.
And now you can do it yourself. So I think as long as you're diligent about making sure that your kids know that they are capable of things, you won't run into the your kids aren't courageous thing.
Mhm.
But you might run into your kids are arrogant dickheads.
Mhm.
That's a bigger fear for me.
I guess a better way of wording it was like, what sort of values do you want to see that your kids hold?
I want them to honor their partners
Mhm.
in so much that they don't disrespect them at all. You're not rude. You're always understanding. And I want my children to always seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Mhm.
Always try to listen first, then try to be listened to.
If your kids saw this video one day, what is the main lesson or takeaway you want them to come away with?
Dad loves you.
All right.
I told you I don't have any expectations. I expect them to do what makes them happy.
Mhm.
And as long as that doesn't harm people's freedoms, I probably support it. But that's my general rule. So if there was one rule as a human that I'm like, we don't do that. We don't harm people's freedoms because if someone tried to harm my freedoms, I'd be very mad. Is
Okay.
it bullshit o'clock? But it is pretty fun. I'm wondering if we should go have a shmee. Everyone's down. Pipe smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. We called it a shmee when we were potheads. Should we have a shmee? Have a smoke, have a shmee. Which was kind of a funny thing because we had this big green bong that you would fill up. You put the weed in there, you put the water in there. And I was always kind of paranoid because we were at Dad's house on the top deck and we walk out there with this big bong. Can I swear now?
I would.
Okay. Big freaking bond. Sorry. And we'd walk out there and I was wondering, I was talking to some of the people who live with me and I was like, there's no way people don't know. Like it stinks. They look at me. I'm holding this rockin' bong. It's huge, you know? And they're like, they just think it's tobacco. Who do you know that rips tobacco out of a bong? No one. Ever. Those are the
I can tell
stupidest
you,
things
as
you've
one of
ever
the
rolled.
kids in that house,
Yeah.
I did not think it was tobacco.
No, certainly not.
It also stinks. Tobacco smells kind of good.
It depends on the tobacco, but yeah. Mostly it smells way better than ganj. Ganj
Mhm.
stinks.
I would have a smoke when we're done with this, though. What got you into doing tobacco?
Trying to get off vaping.
What got you into vaping? And why did you decide to quit?
Well, I started vaping when I was in 6th grade, and I vaped those first vape mods they had. Yeah, I was young. It was weird, and it was awkward for everyone. A couple of our neighbors were doing it. They asked me if I wanted to do it. I was, I think, 4 years younger than them, but I just hung out with them every day, so they just were like, try it out, dude. And I was like, swag, okay. And you would, like, it was old school. Like, you're not even getting much of a cloud. You're not even getting really a nicotine buzz. Like, it's just like, woo, you know, like, it's nothing. And we were doing that. And then, you know, what was funny was when we got caught doing that. You know how our parents were on the whole landmark wave? Like, restore your integrity?
Yeah, I hated that.
I had to go apologize to their parents for vaping with their kids. But they were the ones who told me to vape. So I went and apologized to those guys, and they were like, I'm so disappointed. It's like, eat the bad word. Sorry. Eat crap. This is crazy. And I was in 6th grade. I was like, this is outrageous, dude. Like, should play the victim, but I'm not going to. I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then picked it up again back when those, like, puff bars came out, or whatever they are, like little itty-bitty vapes. Me and Travi had this little teardrop mod it's shaped like a teardrop. The top part comes out, and it's like you put 50 milligram nicotine in there, and it's disgusting. It was so fun to rock it, because you'd hit it, and you would like sit there and like bug out for like 30 seconds, and then be like, woo, okay, awesome, you know. So we would go to worked at Popular, work in the paint room or whatever. You're scuffing doors all day, and then you come home and like just be a little idiot for a bit. It was a lot of fun. And then there was the whole era of like, you know those Christmas lights that are the lasers that they put on the house that move around?
Mm-hmm.
We would do those, but then you would vape into it, and it looked like the effect on Star Wars when they're like, oh, we need to go to hyperspace or whatever, and they would do that, and it was like, so we would get high and do that. That was a lot of fun. Then gradually the puff bars. What?
Tegan says, great, now I'm doxxed. So,
Doxed?
I don't even know what that means.
doxxed is like having your sensitive information leaked on.
I have had one friend leak his address on like a live video game, which is kind of funny. Like, that's like rule number 1 is like, don't tell anyone online where you live, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He's arguing with some cat online, drops his real address, and is like, pull up.
Did they?
No, but it was funny as heck, dude.
That was
funny. Oh, yeah. Someone that lives close to here, too. He just was like, boom, pull up. I live right here. It's like, dang, dude, you're a demon. I'm not doing any of that.
I wouldn't do that. I give people fake addresses. I get scam texts, and I tell them fake names. Like,
I love taking scam calls. Ever since being a salesman, it is so fun to listen to someone be like, it's always like someone in Indian, you know, some Indian dude call you, hello. It's like,
seeing it coming a mile away.
Yeah. And I don't mean anything racist by that, but it's just so funny. It's like, what is the target audience, and why am I getting called? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that you qualify for? It's like, I don't care, dude. And what do I qualify for? Just kidding.
I don't actually like taking scam calls, but I love the scam texts.
Mm.
I told one scammer that I was a blind lesbian,
Mm-hmm.
and I got this girl scammer to be my girlfriend.
Yikes.
I was laughing my butt off.
I've had like random people text me, you know, and they're like, hey, how are you? And it's like, not just like a scammer, like it's a real human, whatever, you know. And I was like, excuse me, like, whose number is this? And I'm a salesman, so I'm like, oh shit, did I forget your number? You know.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, forget who you are and what your number was. And then they're like, I met you at Jesse's party. I'm like, no, you didn't. I'm Ben, I sell cabinets. They're like, oh, swag, you live in Utah? I'm like, mm-hmm. It's the area code for my phone. That would do it, you know? Mm-hmm. And they're like, cool, and they want to gab. And then I'm like, do you want to buy cabinets or not? And they're like, no, I'm good. It's like, then don't text me.
I don't think I've ever had a real person there.
Wait,
What?
regarding your earlier statement about your scam girlfriend.
Hold on, Can they hear you?
Oh, yeah.
The vegan says, did she let you hit them?
Did you guys make
Okay.
e-sex?
In case you guys can't hear, someone asks if my scam girlfriend let me hit. Obviously not. I mean, they wanted to FaceTime. I told them that my phone camera was broken because I dropped it while camping. And I got instantly blocked. No love. I know. Well, I couldn't even reach out. There was no convincing her to give me a second chance.
So what are you thinking? This is a loaded question because someone might try to steal your name, and we're going to just pretend they're not going to. What are you thinking baby names wise? What were you going to rip for your baby?
Okay. Paisley's really wanting to do, and I kind of like the name, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm like dead set on it.
Okay.
She wants to do Harris Albert.
Harris Albert.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Harris being after me, and Albert because she wants like a little kid that she can call Bear or like Pooh Bear.
Mm-hmm. I do hear that. It's tough having an Albert right there. You know what I mean? But if you guys aren't as close, then doesn't matter. Do it. No?
No. She said no.
Oh, yeah. Paige does not care. There's an Albert recently.
Oh.
If you had a baby and then the next day I had a baby and you named your kid Albert, she would still say our kid is Albert.
Cool.
She says, and I quote, "I'm going to name my kid whatever I want, even if the name is taken by my sibling." End quote.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
I'm with it. Don't ever name your kid Howard.
No, I do want to name a kid Peregrine, or at least the middle name Peregrine. I think that's like a cool name for one thing, but also Pippin in the Lord of the Rings. His real name is Peregrine Took.
Yeah.
They call him Pippin for short. And like, imagine a little kid running around, little Pippin, Pipsqueak, whatever you want to call him.
Mr. the Duke. It's tricky. I love choosing baby names. It's my favorite pastime. But I'm also the type to whip out some crazy wild names. Like, I love everything that has to do with random fairy tales, movies.
I write books and I name the kids what I know my wife would never let me name a kid. Like, one of my favorites is Edoras.
That one was cool. That was pretty cool.
That is cool. I haven't actually asked Paige if she would let me name a kid Edoras, but one person actually called out that Edoras is also from Lord of the Rings, which it's the capital of Rohan, though that isn't where I got it. What I took it from is the Greek word Eros, with the Greek pronunciation according to Google is Eidos, which means hero. And so I thought, Edoras sounds cooler, and it carries basically the same thing.
No.
Aw. Darn.
She's not even listening.
I know.
Cool.
Another one that I don't think Paige would let me do is actually a name for this one that I'm working on. That same storybook one. It's the character who's kind of based on like Robin Hood. The name I gave him is Eyvinder. And I like it. Like Eyvindr.
There's an insider trading secret. I'll let you know. When your wife is pushing out a baby, the hospital hands you the birth certificate.
Oh my.
So
good to know.
Yeah, I'm not saying do what you want, but I am saying heads up pays. Because I had a different name planned. Me and Emerald had a different name planned, and then we went in there, and it was like I couldn't handle the pressure. I just wrote Benjamin Arthur, which it was meant to be. It was better, but I was going to name that kid Arthur Osmanthus Kelch, and it was going to be cool, too. I still kind of want to rip that out. Do you know what that's from, Jaren? Osmanthus? It's from a book. Different book.
It's from the book series Cradle. It was pretty good. Like, it was, I don't know that I'd call it a great work of literature, but it was still pretty good. If you like lit RPGs, you'll love this book, because it's basically a lit RPG without all the stuff that sucks about lit RPGs.
It's a really good comic book, is what I would call it.
What is a lit?
A lit RPG is a literary RPG. You know, it's basically if some people played D&D and wrote down everything that happened, and then you read through it.
But people
including
create
all
their
the
own
stats
different
and-
like world building systems too.
Yeah.
So the stats and stuff differ as well. Like you do have, it's not quite like D&D because it's not like roll for persuasion on this thing. You know what I mean? It's
Sometimes it is.
some of them are. Some of them certainly are. We try not to read those ones. It's a little too in there. I read a lot of lit RPG. I'm actually on book 8 of a lit RPG right now.
What one?
Defiance of the Fall.
Mm,
You read that one?
no. I keep being told to, but I don't know if I want to. I kind of don't like lit RPGs.
That's fair. I totally get the assessment. It does something for me. I understand why everyone doesn't like them. I still listen to them.
Okay.
Anyway, I want to name a kid Howard.
So that's why you said not Howard?
Yep. Don't name your babies Howard. I'm going to do that. So heads up.
Because of Howard Rourke or what?
Yes. And because I like Howie. And I like I got an old man theme going. I got Arthur as an old man name.
Really? I thought
Howard.
Arthur was just a good name. Like,
I liked Arthur too, and then people told me they're like Arthur's old man, Benjamin's old man name, and I was like, every man who gets old is an old man name.
yeah.
So I was ripping it.
Arthur, I just think about King Arthur as like,
Me too.
yeah, this kid is,
I think it's the coolest
he better be
thing ever.
kid
I wish
butt.
my name was Arthur. That's what it was like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough, dude. So cool.
Uh,
But I'm also the type to be like, his name's Hercules. You can't do that, but it's like, it's kind of tough, you know? Maximus, Theseus. It's like, there's some cool freaking names. Cassius is tough as heck. Aurelius is a cool one that multiple people have already done in our family. And it's understandable because it's cool.
yeah.
It's pretty sick.
Most people think that it's stupid, but I kind of like Hector also.
I feel I know what you're talking about. I understand both sides. I understand thinking like that is certainly like a bowl cut Mexican kid name, and it's also a really cool Trojan name.
Yeah. If you read the Iliad, like Hector
Yeah.
was the coolest
Hector's
guy.
a
He
cool
goes
name,
toe to toe
yeah.
with freaking
Achilles,
Achilles,
throws
except for
down.
without all the magic buffs. That was
Mhm.
awesome. I loved Hector in that. I also like Ulysses and Ajax.
Ajax is cool. Ajax is in Red Rising too, and it's tough.
Mm.
There's a lot of names from Red Rising that's like, yeah, that's tough as heck.
Mhm.
But a lot of them are like Greek and Roman based anyway. So, oops.
Yeah.
I like to try to make the meaning of the name matter, right?
Mhm.
So,
Me too.
like Benjamin Arthur Kelch means the son of my right hand, and then Arthur is it's up for debate. This side of it means courage. This side of it means king.
Both good.
Both good.
Yeah.
They're both good. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then Kelch, so it's like and cup maker. So, sorry. The courageous cup maker. I don't know what to tell you. And so I want to keep that like cool name and king rolling, right? And so I want to rip also like I was thinking about Howard Reun,
Mm.
which Reun is from Infinite Realm, which is a book, and I can acknowledge that it's not that good of a book. But the name means king, and that's cool too.
That is pretty good.
So and it flows a little bit. Howard Reun.
Mhm.
And Reun's a cute nickname. But there's also like if you had another baby, when I have a girl, I'm gonna rip. I have a couple names that I'm like, these are mine. And they're old lady names too. So hopefully nobody wants them. I like Eleanor Diane Kelch.
Mm. I was thinking about doing Eleanor too.
Really?
Yeah.
You can. If you get it first, do it. I'm probably not gonna get a
I like
girl.
it.
for
I
a
think
long
the
time.
first girl that I have, Paige wants to name her Letty.
Letty?
Mm-hmm.
Lettuce? Just kidding.
I bet she hated that.
What is that from? Letty.
I don't know. She says she just always loved the name.
The other name I was thinking of, I really love. Have you read The Name of the Wind?
Mhm.
Okay, because I'm gonna pull some deep strands from there. Like
Mm.
I would name one of my kids Kavoth.
Kvoth or Quoth?
I like Kavoth more.
Okay.
Quoth is not as cool to me,
And, actually,
and I know that's how you say it, but to me, no.
I knew when reading it that it was
Quoth.
all like there's a buttload of linguistic references,
Mm-hmm.
like how Old English they didn't care if it was thee or you,
Yeah.
and Quoth's name references that,
Mhm.
but also like the scribe, the chronicler, that was his title.
Mhm.
I think that language he writes in is Hebrew, because they
Really?
even say like he uses symbols on the side of letters to reference
Yeah.
vowel
They
after
do
it.
talk about that. I never thought about that. That's
And,
crazy.
Yeah, I was learning that, and like there's like if you put a line under it, it's A. If you put a couple dots under it, it's E. If you put
Mhm.
a little apostrophe next to it, it's I.
Mhm. And it's like a trick to like he writes fast
Mm-hmm.
by doing these kind of things. It's like
Yeah.
it's all the same letters, but you just make different annotations about them. It's cool.
It was pretty good. But also, it took me almost embarrassingly long. Like, it was a while after reading the book that I was like, quoth is another word for said. like the famous line, quoth the raven nevermore.
Mhm.
And like reading Robin Hood is like almost anytime it says he said, it's like he quoth or quoth he or something.
Well, I like that because it's like it's quoth or kavoth or however you say it, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But in the book, they say kavoth means to know.
Mm.
And I like that because I like the meaning of the word. So it's like I would rip something kavoth kelch to know.
Yeah.
Because what I want to rip is Daphne Ilir kelch. And Ilir is when he goes to the school, you have like the Ilirs, the Raylars, and they're all like a different stature. Ilir means to see. Raylar means like to learn or something like that. Like I looked it up once, but I'd have to look it up again. I don't know. But so it's like Daphne Ilir means to see victory. And I was like, that's tough as hell. If that was your namesake, it's like never lose.
Mm-hmm.
What's Howler rule number 1?
Yeah.
Never bow. Yep. Tough.
Mm-hmm. I do like that. I like learning what names are about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Paige was talking to me about it recently and how like what your name means can actually apply to you.
Mm-hmm. I think it does.
For me, I looked it up, and my name is basically God has been gracious, and I kind of like that personally. I mean, I don't know who wouldn't. People who don't like me might not like that, but
I think because my name means the son of my right hand, and then that's Benjamin, and then Joseph means God will add. And so if you think about it, I am not Dad's first son, right? Travi is his first son, and funnily enough, Travi's left-handed. Kind of weird, like a quirky, like what are you, But then it's like, but the son of my right hand, God will add, and Travi's name is actually Traveling Warrior Kelch. Or Traveling Protector. William is up for debate. It's Warrior or Protector. Traveling Protector Kelch. And so you have this side, and then you have the son of my right hand, God will add. I can tell you right now, I've never had anything happen to me except for God adding. That's why when you were like, you ever seen yourself as the underdog? It's like, no. I always have everything I ever want. It's a weird thing, but I do think that the name makes the baby. So try to name him something that like
means something.
Yeah. So you know our cousin Asher. Do you know what Asher means in Hebrew?
No idea.
I'll look it up right here so I don't butcher it.
Okay. I do get what you're saying though, because like for me, people have always said that I'm lucky, and I've even admit like I'm lucky. I get away with stuff all the time, almost as though God was just always being gracious with me.
Oh yeah.
I get away with stuff all the time.
Basically, Asher in Hebrew, I like to make all the words. I search them in Hebrew or their oldest origin. So like Arthur's Celtic, right? But Asher means fortunate. Fortunate. So anytime you know someone named Asher, look and see what's fortunate about him. See if you know. So even let me look up Jaren real quick and we'll see what we get. Jaren.
What is it?
Jaren means He will sing
He will sing.
in Hebrew.
That's funny. Jaren's not much of a
To
singer.
sing, shout for joy, or he will sing.
I looked it up when Paisley and I were discussing it the other day. I looked up like all my friends' names, and I remember that.
Mm-hmm. So now I would ask, instead of like, you won't physically sing, that's fine. Do your actions sing? Is it a little bit more verbal?
He will sing or shout for joy.
Yeah. Do the things you do shout, I'm loving it?
The things he does actually kind of do shout for joy.
You have to ask your
Even
friends.
if
You
he
can't
doesn't?
ask yourself. You have to ask people who aren't you. You have to ask people who watch you.
Like basically working at Popular, seeing the sort of passion he has for the paint and
Mm-hmm.
developing the colors, and basically I can see it in his eyes. Even if he hasn't phrased it this way to himself, it's the creation of beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets all the way into it. He's almost obsessive about it. And so while he doesn't personally, his actions do ring out and shout about what he loves.
Okay.
How would you consider that assessment? Did I get it wrong on any point?
So I'm just looking up more names. Tegan does not have a direct traditional meaning in the Bible, as it originates from the Irish and Welsh roots, not Hebrew. It is commonly interpreted as poet or philosopher, or from the Irish as fair or beautiful.
That he is.
That he is.
I hope he's watching this. He's got some luscious locks.
So now I look up. I'm gonna just go through everyone's name just while we're here.
Okay.
The name Paisley originates from a Scottish town name, ultimately deriving from the Latin basilica, meaning church or a place of worship. It is not a word with a direct definition in the original biblical text, but has come to carry spiritual connotations of devotion, tradition, and heritage due to its etymology.
That's actually funny because for viewers who don't know, Paisley is my wife. Beautiful, beautiful woman. And I wasn't very religious before I got with her. And she actually admit to not being very religious before she got with me.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember very specifically reading in the Old Testament, God says, do not appoint any stone to kneel on to worship me. And basically, so don't appoint one place to worship God. Worship God everywhere you go.
Yeah.
My darling wife, I worship God every time I see her. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I was telling her just the other day, like, if God could be called a craftsman, then what he crafts is beauty. And if his craft is beauty, then my wife is his masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's just that beautiful.
You should see mine. Just kidding.
She looks just like you.
I know. That's the problem. It's not the problem, it's actually the answer. Awesome.
You ever worry about being narcissistic?
Yeah, I told you earlier. I got
Yeah.
some narcissism in there.
I'm sure we've all got some narcissism in there. I think it's healthy to have some narcissism in there. Narcissism is a love for yourself. Everyone should love themselves.
Did you hear about all the nonsense that went over at Mom's last night?
No.
Really? It's probably not podcast talk, but it is worth talking about.
I'm going to remember that for when we turn this off.
Okay.
Yeah, I was totally down there. It might not have been last night. It might have been. I'm pretty
No,
sure it
you
was
were there
last night.
last night. You and
Yeah.
Travi were there, and then I was there, and then we were
Mhm.
hanging out down there, and then after you guys went home, it was low key like, this is some bullshit. Why am I the one dealing with all this? This
Okay.
is crazy.
I do remember
The
going.
cops came over, dude.
What?
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah.
Save the story for a minute. We're
I
going
will.
to talk about this when we turn this
I
off.
will. I will.
We
Fine.
should edit this part out so the viewers don't know they're missing out on a story.
It's live. They heard.
I mean the viewers on like
You'll have to
YouTube
find
and stuff.
Benny to ask him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I went down the other day and we stayed up till like 11 having charcuterie with mom and dad. Like, really good. They brought down some smoked salmon and stuff. I love smoked salmon.
Yeah,
Anything
it's
smoked
good.
is the best way to have it.
Yep.
If I could have all my food smoked, I would. Even a
Yeah.
cake. If you could bake a cake in a smoker,
I would eat
best
it too.
cake you could ever
Yeah.
have.
I'm with you.
We stayed up till 11.
Mm-hmm.
We got in bed at 11, and then Paisley decided that we should cuddle and talk for an hour on a work night.
Did you fall asleep on her?
Of course I fell asleep on her.
That's
she gets so angry.
What I tend to do is like log in on accident, like it's like, oh man, it's only 11:30. Like, what the hell? Let's log in. And so I start asking my wife the deep question, like, are you happy? What do you wish was different? Like, you start getting into all these things, and then 30 minutes later when she finally is like, well, I just wish I'm me, like, and she's always mad about it. I'm like, sorry, dude, I still meant those questions. You should tell me, but it was so late.
That's what I tell Paige. Like, I've told her, if we're talking late at night, no matter how deep it gets, expect me to fall asleep. And even I do this weird thing where I'm like still in talking mode when I fall asleep, and so I'll wake up to Paige going, "What was that?" And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "You were telling me about like this big red house." I was like, "Oh, I was dreaming about a big red house." Like, when we're talking and I fall asleep, I just start describing my dreams that I'm having to her.
I don't do any of that. What's that?
Oh,
we can end it.
We can end it. Quote of the day. That's a good one.
Did you tell him?
I didn't yet.
What did Amaron say?
Amaron's quote was old enough to know better, young enough to do it anyways.
Okay. I like the quote that, I don't know who said it, but it's the young know they will die, but only the old believe they will die. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What's that quote?
I don't know. I never heard it before.
But the quote I was gonna rip is it's from Red Rising, and it's, "I'll be your pink if you promise not to share me."
For context, pinks are sex workers.
Sex
basically.
workers, yeah. Yep. The quote is, "Young men know they will die, but only old men believe it." And that is from modern fantasy such as James Islington's work. Young men know they will die, but only old men believe it. I don't believe it's true for you. I hope it's not, is what it says.
One of my favorites is, I think I said this on the last podcast too, but it's Jules Verne, "But hope is so firmly rooted in the hearts of man," from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Another one is also Jules Verne, and the scene helps paint the quote and like why I see it as so beautiful. But basically, they've spent 3 whole days going down the wrong tunnel.
Yeah.
And they're out of water, or they're near out of water. And so the main character's Uncle Otto, he laughs a little bit and says, "All right, well, tomorrow we'll go back up and then we'll go down the right tunnel." And the main character, Axel, says, "If we even have the strength for that." And he sounds kind of bitter. And Otto says, "Whatever do you mean, dear boy?" And Axel says, "Tomorrow we shall have no more water." And Otto leans in, and this is the quote. He says, "Nor any courage?" It's a little question, but like, I love that. I think that's an awesome question to ask in times of great need. And the quote is like, have we also run out of courage, among other things?
I do like that.
One more big professional question that I wanted to ask.
Okay.
Who do you think we should have on? Who do you look up to and respect? The ultimate question is, who do you look up to, and will you help me get them on?
Or
It's kind of tough. I think there's a lot of people that would have a lot of good to say, but also there's the people I look up to that's like, yeah, that would be a fun one to get on there too. So you could always start with trying to get your dad on here, either of your dads. I think that would be very fun. Or I think a fun one to get on here would be probably Harry. Harry's my best friend, and he's very critical about what he thinks and why he thinks it. And yes, I will help you get him on here. I'm sure he would be delighted.
All right. Thanks.
Mhm.
I really want to get Uncle Zach on, but
I
he
think
was
that
on
would.
vacation and I didn't know when he would be home.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think he would enjoy it too.
Me too. It might be the first podcast he's ever been on.
Mm-hmm. Probably. I told him that I wanted him to be on mine too. But it was interesting because he was like, he thought that I was just going to ask him, like, how do you do sales and what's the trick to this and how do you get people to buy shit? You know, because I was telling him, I was like, yeah, dude, I want to have you on a podcast with me where we just chat. And he was like, I don't want to sit there and teach you guys how to do sales on a podcast.
Mhm.
And I was like, me neither. I don't want to work. I
Mhm.
just want to ask you, what do you want to talk about and what's good?
Yeah.
You know?
I
But it
wanna
was
ask-
kind of interesting. Apparently, other people have asked him, like, come to our thing and come teach us how to do all this. So
That's
it's an
cool.
interesting thing to ask him about. Yeah.
All right. When we last went into Lake Powell,
Yeah.
Uncle Zach was telling me and Tegan about how he was like this close to being an Olympic skier.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
And
Okay.
so ever since then, I was like, damn, I need to get you on a podcast and just have you tell me your life story.
Yeah.
That sounds so cool.
They got a lot of crazy in there.
I know.
dude.
That's why I want to hear it all.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's
it'd
going
be
to be
a lot
a
of
cool
fun.
story. Also, if Uncle Zach dies before I have kids,
Mm-hmm.
I want my kids to be able to know who Uncle Zach is.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have there be a video, like one video that's so packed that I can say, look up this video and you'll learn who Uncle Zach is and why I respect him, why I look up to him, why I love and admire him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's like Dad's best friend as far as I know.
Yeah.
And basically that's part of the reason for doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I remember watching Rye Guy's podcast and he was saying that he was doing it partially so that his kids can look up these videos to get to know him better.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I expect my kids to know me pretty well, but I don't expect them to know Grandpa. I don't expect Grandpa to live long enough that my kids actually get to sit down and have a serious conversation with him.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to have Grandpa on. So when I say, oh yeah, my grandpa did such and such, they go, your grandpa?
Mm-hmm.
What? I say, let's watch this video.
Yeah.
You know, you'll learn all about my grandpa.
Oh, yeah. I love
Like
that
I'm
too.
convinced that Grandpa is like the second greatest guy in the world because Dad said he's the greatest guy in the world. But surely Dad's wrong because Dad's the greatest guy in the world. I'm sure many of us can agree with that statement alone. If not my own dad, then your own dad, you know?
It would be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. I do want to get multiple mics, partly because I think it'd be weird to do Grandpa and not Grandma. So if I had one with Grandma and Grandpa,
Should we end this?
yeah,
Yes.
let's end it.
We're almost
Um,
6 hours.
We should end it now. But until next time, my name is Jaxon Kelch, and this is the Open Chapter Society.